It started with a stranger at the gym. She smiled, walked right up to me, asked if I wanted to grab a drink. I froze. My heart skipped just for a moment. Not because I was tempted, but because I was confused. This doesn't happen to me. I'm not the kind of guy who gets flirted with at the gym. I looked her in the eyes and said, "No, I'm married." Simple, clear, respectful. I thought that was the end of it. But when I got home that night, my wife was waiting. She wasn't angry. She wasn't cold. She hugged me, tight, like she hadn't seen me in years. And then she apologized. I asked her what was going on, and she told me the truth. That woman at the gym wasn't a stranger. She was part of a test, a setup, a scheme orchestrated by my wife and her best friend. They wanted to test my loyalty, to see if I'd cheat, to see if I'd fall. They had planned it, scripted it, executed it, and I had passed. My wife was proud, relieved, even excited. She said it with a smile, like I had just won a game show. But all I could feel was betrayal. Let me rewind. My wife is pregnant with our daughter. We were overjoyed when we found out. It felt like our whole world was expanding. Every heartbeat was a shared one. Every plan, every meal, every hope was filled with this incredible energy, our future child. But slowly, that joy began to erode. It started small. A sharp comment about dinner. A snide joke about how I wasn't trying hard enough at home. She said the chicken sandwiches I made were disgusting, then ate every last one of them. It was always like that. I'd cook. She'd insult the food, and then she'd eat it all. Nothing left for me. Just the echo of her words. "This tastes like shit." When I asked why she ate it, if she hated it, she'd just shrug and say, "I was hungry." And I'd swallow it. Not the food, the resentment, because I work more than 80 hours a week, every single week. I come home, drained and exhausted. All I want is some peace, some quiet, a moment to breathe. But instead, I get accusations, glares, suspicion. She tells me I don't find her attractive anymore, that I don't want her, that I'm probably cheating. At first, I tried to reassure her. I kissed her belly. I held her hand through the hormonal waves. I told her she was beautiful, that she was still the woman I loved. But nothing worked. And then came the test. She enlisted her best friend, someone I never liked but tolerated for her sake. They got a mutual friend to flirt with me, to hit on me, to offer me a night out, just to see if I'd take the bait. That wasn't a spontaneous mistake. That was a plan. They wanted to prove I was unfaithful, not test if I was loyal. There's a difference. And that's what broke me. I passed the test, but I failed something deeper, something sacred. I failed at being seen, at being trusted. I wasn't a partner anymore. I was a suspect. And in her eyes, I always had been. The worst part is, she thought it was harmless. She thought I'd laugh about it, that we could move on, that everything would be fine now that she had her answer. But that's not how trust works. You can't inspect it like a metal bar to see if it bends. You can't stress test love without damaging its frame. What she did wasn't just cruel, it was invasive, manipulative. It shattered something I had spent years building. I stood in that kitchen, holding my gym bag, listening to her say, "I'm glad you passed." And all I could feel was cold. So I asked myself a question I never thought I'd ask. Would I be the asshole if I asked my pregnant wife to move out? Not because I wanted to punish her, not because I didn't love her, but because I couldn't breathe in our house anymore. Because every glance felt like surveillance. Because I wasn't just exhausted, I was defeated. I needed space. I needed silence. I needed safety. But she was pregnant with our daughter, my daughter. So I didn't yell. I didn't lash out. I sat down and thought. I thought about how she used to smile in the mornings before the nausea started, about how she'd put her hand on her stomach and whisper things to the baby when she thought I wasn't listening, about the way she used to trust me completely. And I wondered what changed. Was it the hormones, the body changes, the sleepless nights, the fear? Or was it something deeper, some root of insecurity she had always carried, now inflamed by the weight of motherhood? I don't know. But I do know this. Being pregnant is not a license to emotionally abuse your partner. It's not a free pass to test, to manipulate, to sabotage. And I know that if the roles were reversed, if a husband had set a trap for his pregnant wife, Reddit would burn the whole thing down. There is a double standard, and I'm tired of pretending there isn't. People told me to suck it up, that I'm a man, that this is just how it is when your wife's expecting. But this isn't moodiness. This is betrayal. And the saddest part is, I still want to be there for her. I still want to be at the birth. I want to hold my daughter. I want to read her bedtime stories and teach her how to ride a bike and be the father she deserves. But I can't do that if I'm broken. So I asked her to stay with her parents for a while, not because I hate her, but because I need time to heal. She cried, said I was overreacting, that she didn't mean to hurt me, that her friend told her it was just a harmless experiment. But I'm not an experiment. I'm her husband, or at least I thought I was. She packed a few bags, slipped on her shoes slowly, waddled to the door, hand resting on her belly. And for a moment, I wanted to stop her, to say forget it, to take her back in my arms. But I didn't, because I'm not just protecting myself anymore. I'm protecting my daughter from being raised in a house where trust is optional, where love is tested like a lab rat. I want her to grow up knowing that healthy relationships don't play games, that loyalty doesn't come from traps. It comes from truth, from mutual respect, from love that doesn't need proof. So now, I sit here, in a quiet house. No insults, no accusations, no fake flirtations, just silence. And I wonder, what happens next? Will she realize what she's done? Will she fight for us? Or was this the end we didn't see coming? So, am I the asshole? This story isn't just about a loyalty test. It's about the slow erosion of trust, about what happens when love is treated like suspicion instead of sanctuary. It's a brutal reminder that even the people we build lives with, have children with, can lose sight of the very things that made love possible in the first place. But it's also a mirror, because maybe you've felt it too. That moment when you realize you're not being trusted, that your kindness is being taken for weakness, that your presence is being policed, not cherished. And maybe you've stayed silent, just wanting peace, just wanting the storm to pass. But storms don't pass when they're invited in. If you've ever been tested instead of trusted, if you've ever been made to feel like the enemy in your own home, then you know what this man is feeling. And maybe you've also wondered, would I be the asshole for walking away? Tell us, have you ever been put to the test? And did passing feel like winning or just surviving? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is AITA Story Vault, where real stories crack open real hearts. We'll see you next time.